Hey guys, welcome back to 234 En La Casa. So today I'm going to be making Sprite biscuits. I'm going to bring you all over and show you the ingredients. You want to make sure that you have your oven preheated at 450 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and get that preheated. And then you just need to have like a baking pan. You can use glass or you can use metal. I'm going to be just using a round cake pan. It's metal, and I've got about 3 tablespoons of butter in here, okay? And so when your oven's preheated at 450, you're going to stick your pan in there and let the butter melt, all right? Because you want to use melted butter to put these biscuits in the pan. Okay, I'm going to bring you all over and show you how to make these fabulous Sprite biscuits. They're really, really good, really, really tender. I really enjoy them a lot, and so I want to share this recipe with you all. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Oven at 450, about 3 tablespoons of butter in a baking pan, okay? All right, I'll bring you over and show you how to make these fabulous Sprite biscuits. All right, so we're gonna start off with about 2 cups of white lily flour, and this is gonna be the self-rising flour that you're gonna wanna use, okay? So just self-rising, you can use any flour. I'm using white lily, but just make sure that it's self-rising, okay? And then you're also going to want to get a block of cream cheese, bring it to room temperature, okay? And we're just gonna use 4 ounces of cream cheese, all right? All right, y'all, so we've got our 2 cups of white lily self-rising flour, and to that I'm gonna add about 1/8 of a cup of granulated sugar. I've got a fork here, we're just gonna mix that in. Okay, and then we're gonna add the 4 ounces of cream cheese. I've got it already cubed, and we're just gonna place that into the flour and sugar mixture. And the cream cheese is gonna serve as like the, you know, back in the day we would use Crisco, like I still use Crisco for my, vegetable shortening for my biscuits. So this is gonna act as the vegetable shortening. Instead of shortening, we're using the cream cheese, okay? So you're gonna just blend this in with your fork, and you wanna make sure that all of the moisture from this cream cheese gets pretty much combined with the flour. It gets all areas of your flour moisturized and everything, okay? And when you do this, it's a long, not a long process, but it does take time, okay? And so the end result is going to be that your flour and sugar is kind of like in the texture of sand. And now we've got our cream cheese mixed in, so we're going to add some Sprite. I hope that you all can see, this is going to be the texture of the flour. It's, like I said, it's in the consistency of sand, okay? You see that? Hopefully y'all can see, okay? Once we've got all that cream cheese and everything combined with the flour. So now it's time for Sprite. So we're gonna add gradually about 3/4 to a cup of Sprite. This is gonna be a gradual process. And I'm just gonna pour a little bit along the way, okay? So I'm gonna make like a little well here and add my Sprite. Okay, and then we're just gonna pull the flour from the sides, and you're not gonna like stir, you're just gonna fold, okay? And the idea is to make sure that every area of your flour is saturated with liquid. And when I say saturated, I don't mean, let me clarify that every area of your flour is moist, okay? Because when I say saturated, it makes it sound like it should be like flooded with liquid, and that's not the case, okay? You're just gonna wanna make sure that every area of your flour is moist, okay? Okay, so now we're gonna add a little bit more. And again, what I didn't mention before too is if you have a blending fork, you can use that as well when you're trying to mix in your, combine your cream cheese with your flour. A blending fork works really, really good. I know there's places on Amazon that sell blending forks specifically for biscuits, okay? Okay, I'm gonna add just a little bit more. All right, this looks really, really good. I see that all areas, all of my flour is moist. So I'm gonna, now at this point, you're gonna go ahead and make sure your countertop is clean, sanitized, and sprinkle some flour on your countertop so you can roll out your dough. All right, guys, so we're just gonna sprinkle our surface, the sanitized surface that you have with some flour, okay? And then you're gonna wanna make sure you have flour on your hands too. And you don't want to overwork your dough, okay? So you've got flour on both sides. And for these biscuits, I'm going to roll them out. I want them to be about 1 inch to 1.5 inches thick. You can decide how thick you want your biscuits to be, okay? You can decide how thin you want them. Some people like them thin. I like mine thick, but I've also had them thin, and that's fine with me too. Okay, so I'm gonna fold this, knead it a little bit, fold it again, knead it. I'm gonna fold it over one more time. Okay, and that's gonna be it. I'm gonna put some more flour on top of this and on my counter. And like I said, I think I said in another video, you can use a rolling pin if that's what you would like to do, or you can use a glass. There's no need to go out and buy a whole lot of different little gadgets and things like that. I'm not really big on gadgets. My ancestors lived in the country, and so they just kind of used what they had. And so I kind of ascribe to that same way of being as well. So my dad grew up on a farm where, I'm gonna put this in a square shape, but my dad grew up on a farm. I know I talk about my dad a lot, but my dad grew up on a farm where it was almost like a little city unto itself. I think they only had to go to the store for flour. Everything else they made there on their farm. Cornmeal, everything. They made everything on the farm. They had cows, they had horses. I mean, it was, it was like a little town. They made their own sugar. They had sugar cane. So anyway, you find that you don't have to buy a whole lot of stuff all the time. You can work with what you have and still have a beautiful life. My mom grew up in a larger town, but her parents had crops and stuff. Like they had, a garden, vegetable garden and all that. My grandfather on her side would make homemade donuts. And I mean, so we've always been people that doesn't just take a whole lot of, I guess I should say just not a lot of unnecessary spending. I guess you could say that. And, I mean, I'm sure, we pamper ourselves and do nice things for ourselves, but. All right, y'all, so I've got my biscuit cutter. And I'm gonna set these to the side. I'm waiting on my pan in the oven. Make sure this is all. This part feels a little bit thicker. You can just press it down. I wanna make sure that it's the same height and as the other, so. All right, so I've got them all ready, and so now we're just going to use the rest of this dough and get some biscuits out of this too, okay? All right, so I've got all my biscuits pressed out. This little bit of dough that's left, I'm just going to hand form this one and go ahead and place it in my pan over here. And I've got another little piece right here. And I'm just gonna stick it in somewhere. Let's see, probably right in here. All right, so we're gonna stick these in the oven for 10 to 12 minutes, and this will give you a chance to, if you're making these for breakfast, to go on and make your sausage or your bacon or your turkey bacon or what have you, and your eggs, okay? So I'll bring y'all back when these are coming out of the oven. All right, y'all, so these biscuits are ready. My oven was kind of wonky, so I'm gonna put some butter on these and I'll bring you all right back. Okay, guys, and normally what you wanna do is put some chicken grease, like if you keep chicken grease or bacon grease on top of your biscuits before you put them in the oven. But I didn't do that, so just know that on this end. I had a kind of a visitor. I wasn't expecting anybody. I was in the middle of filming. It kind of threw me off a little bit. So anyway, so I'm putting butter on here, and like I said, my oven, it came to temperature and then it fell back down, so I don't quite know what was going on with that. And but so I've got butter on these biscuits now, and so I'm gonna get a biscuit out of here and show you the inside of the biscuits. Okay, so this is the biscuit. Stands up very tall. I've got it open. I'm gonna put some butter on here. I like mine with butter and jelly. I also like mine with, it depends on what I'm eating it with. If it's like for breakfast, it's butter and jelly is what I like mine with. But if it's another time of day, I'll put some like syrup. I like it with syrup too. I'm not too much of a preserves person, but I don't like that fermented taste that preserves have. But anyway, so there you have it. Bring that up close. And then I'm gonna put this together so y'all can see the height on the biscuit too. So that's about how tall they are. Okay. All right, and so then now I'm gonna go ahead and give it a taste. Very tender, very good. It's a great tasting biscuit, it really is. So tender. Okay, guys. All right. Well, I'll see you all next time at 234 En La Casa. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Y'all have a great day. I'm gonna get some coffee and eat my breakfast. See y'all later.